a little bit of a backpack strap. Let's scoot that out the way. And Alec 400, welcome back. My Asian dessert chef. How you doing? And egg specialist. Certified hater G. Damn. Okay, I'm nervous now. Alex 400. Alec 400. What's up? I don't know. Just chilling. We're gonna give a couple minutes for people to hop into the live, and then we're gonna get started. Actually, my back is a little bit uncomfortable. I don't think I slept very good or in a good position, so I'm gonna do some cat cows while we wait. And yeah, feel free to join in. Drop my coffee for a second. Oh, okay. I'm getting on all fours. Shoulders over hands, hips more or less over knees. You don't have to be perfect with this. Look up, sort of arch the back. Ooh. To the opposite. Curl. Slouch as hard as you can. Be the worst sloucher you've ever met. And let's just do a couple. Take your time. Movement is good, but I feel like really controlling the movement and feeling that stretch that you're forcing yourself into feels way better than doing the reps a little bit faster. Oh, yeah. My earbud is falling. Sacrificial earbud. Okay. Oh, my hips cracked a little bit. It's good. More than just my back is relaxing. And I'm gonna a little bit of twisting. I'm gonna tuck this arm under and across the body. Oh, my shoulder blades are really tight. To the other side. Okay, maybe I should do more stretching regularly. I wonder why I'm so sore. Why the stretch feels like it's so intense. 3. Okay. Oh. That is a couple seconds of some back stuff. I feel like I just felt a drip of water come from the ceiling. So I'm a little bit confused. Give me a second, everybody. I wonder if I was just so excited I was talking and spitting into this either bounced and fell or back onto my face. It felt kind of cold. Am I crazy? Sorry. Alright. Doesn't seem like there's anything happening, so maybe I was just spitting on myself by accident. Alright. Let's continue. Hello, everybody who has come in since I have stretched out my back a little bit. Lulu, welcome back. Ganowski, Betty, Sheena, and Alex says must have been the wind. Yeah, that. I don't know. Do I always talk and spit so much? What is going on? Okay. Grab your final sips of water. Let's get some warm up done. Whew. All right. I haven't done an intro. I assume everybody here is a regular so far, but we do 30, 40, 50 minutes of live side split stretching every single day to practice consistency, to build some community, have good vibes, hang out in the chat, talk to people who share similar goals, want to get stretched out, work out a little bit, and hopefully that makes it a lot easier to make some progress towards your goals, to stay consistent, and you just feel better about the time that you spend right here. Cool. We're going to start with the warm-ups. The warm-ups don't require you to be warmed up prior, right? We're just slowly starting. And the first thing that we're going to do is called hip cars. Cars is controlled articulated rotations. That's just fancy for we are trying to move our leg through this full range of motion at the hip. And it looks like this: high knee, open, ankle, down and back. From the side, it looks like high knee. Try to lift that knee as high as possible. Then open as wide as you can. Keep that knee high. Then rotate the leg so that the ankle is as high as you can get it. I urge you to aim for horizontal, but if you really want to, you can definitely lift it even higher than that. Bring the leg down and back. All the way over here, your bent knee is behind the standing knee. I want you to flex the hamstrings, I want you to flex the glutes, really pull that leg back. Feel the stretch in the front of your hips. And that's one rep. We've done one. Let's do 10 of those on the left, 10 on the right, and we will be ready to continue. I'm going to scoot this camera up a little bit so my head isn't completely chopped off. Let's go. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. 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 If you are feeling a little bit off balance and you're spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to balance, I recommend you put your hand against the wall or something to give you a little bit of support so that you can focus on that maximum range of motion. I forgot where we are with the count, but 9, 10. Whew, hip cars. Let's go and get started on the other side. I'll face you this time. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. That's 3. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. That's 5. 6, 7, 8. Open, ankle up, down and back. High knee, open, ankle up, down and back. I think that's 9. Last one. Ankle up, down and back. And we are done with hip curls going forward. Take a second, move around just a little bit. Whew. Check out the hips if you need to. If these muscles over here are feeling a bit tight, just do a little wiggle, do a little dance. Let's go ahead and get started going backwards. Same movements, going backwards is sometimes your brain starts going crazy. They're like, what are you doing? We just did this completely differently. So let's talk about how to do it. Back. Again, flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, pull this knee back behind the standing leg. Then from here, lift directly up to the side, like you're going to give somebody a little push kick. Actually, I think the technical term for a push kick is like this thing where you're pushing them. So don't actually call that a push kick, because that'll confuse people who know what that is. And once you're here, your ankle is as close to horizontal as you can get. Maybe you can get even further. Bring that knee and ankle down. And then finally, pull that knee directly in front of you to the side. I feel like that was a little bit confusing, so let's do that again. Back, side, ankle, knee. Back, side, ankle, knee. Back, side, ankle, knee. Back, side, ankle, knee. The slower you do this, the more tired you'll be, and the more intense this will feel, especially by the time you get to rep 10. There's not a really good reason to sprint through it, because I do want you to get a little bit tired. I want you to work on strengthening the muscles so you get more control and better range of motion slowly in the hip. Oh man, I think that's 7, 8. We're almost done. 9 and 10. Oh. Go ahead, pound out that hip. give it some light massage or heavy massage if that's what you're into. Let's go other side. Back, side, ankle, knee. Ooh, that first time around hip thing that I got just went and made a nice click. This is 3, 4, back, side, ankle, knee, back, side, ankle, knee. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, back, side, ankle, knee, and that is 10. Whew. Hip cars are done. Let's take a quick water/coffee break for me. And I'm gonna scroll around into the chat. It's Lo Mein said, immediately jumped up to try. Love it. Love it. That's the goal, to make the live, welcoming, fun, straightforward, easy enough, with enough explanation that you can just jump right in. And I'm glad it worked. Thank you, Lo Mein, for letting me know. Burhan says, bro, where are you from? I am from the US. Sheena says, hello, hello. Oh, okay, I already covered those. Can we see the hip cars on the floor again, Sheena asks. Yes! Perfect timing that I finally scrolled to that message. Because we just finished hip cars standing. So, hip cars on the floor. We basically get started in a table position if you're into Pilates, and it looks a little bit like this. Your hands, your wrists are under your shoulders. I'm going to scoot really far away so the camera can capture my whole body. Your hands are underneath your shoulders. Your knees are basically right under your hips. We don't want you to be in this position. It's going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be a little bit more intense on your abs when you get into it like this, but it'll be easier to move your legs through it. All right? So we're aiming for basically the same things, but we're, facing down instead of facing sideways. We're going to start with that high knee. We're going to lift that knee as high as we can, directly in front. We're going to try our best to lift that leg directly to the side. If you've done other sort of Pilates mat videos, these are called like fire hydrants in some schools of training, right? You're like a dog taking a piss on a fire hydrant, lifting that leg. From here, you're going to rotate the leg so that the ankle comes up as much as possible. Now your heels are pointing up, right? This is still that leg rotation. And because we're using different muscles, this might feel super intense right now because you haven't had 20-something days to practice these muscles. And I'm really feeling it. And then from here, once your ankle is up, I want you to bring that leg down and back. Really stick that leg up into the air. Your back is going to want to arch like this. Try your best to keep it pretty neutral because too much arch over time isn't that great for your back, but a little bit is no big deal. Contract the glutes, contract the hamstrings. You're going to struggle to feel the stretch in that front of your hip flexor because it's just going to be so much harder to line up the hip and put pressure in a way where you're going to feel the stretch in the hip flexor of the front. But those are your positions. We'll do that one more time with a little less talking and a little bit smoother operation. Let's do it. High knee, open, ankle up, down and back. High knee, open up, ankle up, down and back. Whew. All right, man. My knees are kind of tired. What else we got? Sheena says, I'm really sore from gym earlier today. Well, sounds like you have gotten a lot of exercise today, and that is amazing. But also, if you're sore, take it a little bit chill. Give yourself extra time to warm up. Enjoy those hip cars nice and slow. Alex says, good fighting style. I like how they use the elbows and legs. Elbows? Muay Thai? Yes. Immediately jumped up to try. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, I'm trying to scroll down as fast as possible so I can see if any other questions just came in from what I was doing on the floor. I need some workout for when I'm in the office, but I also don't want to look like a weirdo. Hans, I hear you. And I'll think about that. Noted. Okay. We have two more questions from YouTube. Oh, is the hip cars on the floor like the fire hydrant Pilates move? Yes, exactly. That is going to be exactly what it looks like. We're using our outer hip muscles to open and lift. Oh, man. And these are called the abductors, abductors, abductors. Their job is to open up your legs. When we do the side split or equivalent, and we lift our legs like this, those muscles are also firing to do this job. But our hips are slightly tilted up. So it's a tiny bit different, but very, very simple. Okay. Do you have any tips for posture? I do, but I'm gonna save that for the end because we are gonna take forever if I start answering questions about posture right now. Whew. Let's get into the second warm-up exercise, and that is the elephant walk. The elephant walk is about sort of starting and getting into this L shape, starting to feel the hamstrings tighten up. If you're a little bit higher up, that's totally okay. It's just part of the process. I want you to try and focus on your belly button and bring it down towards the ground. Your hamstrings are going to tighten up even more. If your knees are a little bit achy, it's totally okay to give them a slight bend. And you should still feel the hamstring stretch. Oh, okay. From here, just give yourself a little bit of wiggle. You don't have to do anything super crazy for the first couple of seconds. Get comfortable in the position, and then I want you to start bending your knees one at a time while bringing the belly button down. You're going to start feeling some stuff shifting in the back of your legs, in your hamstrings, and we want that exact thing. We want the hamstrings moving and grooving alongside each other. The hamstrings is just one general term. There's actually 4 big muscles that are all working together slightly differently, slightly different angles, but we call that whole entire apparatus back here the hamstrings. So we want those muscles to shift, move, get smooth, so that when we do the actual really intense stretches, they'll be ready for us and we'll be happy because it won't suck so bad when we do the hamstring stretch. All right, once you've done a couple of these, you've really felt all the weird stickiness in your hamstrings start to, I don't know, maybe they're smoothing out, maybe they just feel weird, and maybe nothing has changed, but that's okay. We're just spending a little bit of time. I feel like after a little bit of warm up, things tend to move a little bit better. If you disagree, let me know. Okay, once you've done a little bit of this, bending the knees one side at a time, trying to bring our belly button down, we're going to add some twists in. Let's keep these legs relatively close together, hips width. Focus on bringing the belly button down. Then we're going to bend the left knee. We're going to straighten the right leg. Take the left hand, so the opposite hand, push against that right leg. Add a little bit of rotation in the spine. Lift the hand, the right hand, the only hand that's left, up into the sky. Look at it. It's behind you. Rotate your neck because you're looking at the fingers. And come back down. This rotation, let's do it on the other side. So left leg is straight, right leg is bent, right hand grabs left leg, gives it a nice push, opens the chest to the left, left arm goes up into the sky, your eyes are looking at it, so your head is rotated to the left as well, and come back down to center. Let's do a couple of these. Warm up our backs, fire those shoulder muscles, get some blood to our fingers, train those muscles where we look and twist so that when you check your blind spot when you're driving, you do a really good job and it's thorough. When you look out your back window when you're reversing, you do a really good job and it feels like it's easy to do a good job. That's the goal. All right, we've done a whole bunch of these. Remember that we do want to maintain some of that hamstring stretch. So when you are twisted and rotating, try and exhale. Try to bring the belly button down a little bit lower and see if you can get the hamstring stretch back in. I know it's a lot to focus on, but I add all these different things together to help keep it interesting when you're just doing hamstring stuff. We have to do so much hamstring stuff. All right, that is 2 of our 3 warm-up exercises. Let's go ahead and get into our third and final, the Cossack switch. The Cossack switch looks a little bit like this. We're opening up our legs, and for the most part, we're just dropping down to one side. It might look a little bit like you're just squatting down, but it's mostly on one leg. The other leg is for balance. I want you to keep your knees traveling in the same line as your toes. What that means is, if my toes are pointing directly towards you guys, I want my knees to travel directly towards you guys. A little tiny bit from side to side is totally okay. So you don't have to freak out about perfection, but I don't want this. And I don't want that. That is bad. So knees over toes, and I'm pointing out to the side about 30, 45 degrees. Actually, maybe like 25 degrees even. From here, I want you to feel the pressure in the front of the ankle because your bones are coming together. I want you to feel the stretch in the Achilles tendon. I want you to feel that calf stretch a little bit. I want you to feel the pressure in that hip when you're sitting deep into this position. That's it. We're just chilling here for a couple of seconds as our body gets used to this position. On the other side, on this leg that's just chilling over here, I want you to keep the heel down, point the toes up, and point the knees up. This isn't actually that important for this exact moment of movement, but this is called the external leg rotation, and we need it for the side splits in a little bit. So I highlight it while we're waiting for our hips to chill out and relax. All right, we've hung out here on this side for a little bit. Let's get to the other side. You can put your hands down to give yourself a little bit of support. With your hands down, you need less balance, you need less strength, and it makes it easier to get to the other side. Same thing here, feeling the pressure in the front of the ankle, feeling the stretch in the Achilles and the calf, feeling the pressure on the hip, and we're just going to chill here for a little bit. Take some breaths, relax, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to shift our weight from side to side in these switches, and let's talk about what that's going to look like. We can keep going with hands down to help relieve some of that pressure using our arms, and this is a perfectly good way of doing it. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can try to stand up very straight so that your chest is high, and stick your arms out to help counterbalance your weight, and you can do something that looks like this. If your knees are a little bit uncomfortable, you can come up to a quarter squat, you can come across, then you can come down and sit back into that position, because what we want is to spend time in this position. Putting pressure onto the hip, and the rest of the movement is to help you get a little bit stronger in that leg and from this compromised, weaker position, because in these deep positions you're going to be a little bit weaker, and we want you to be a little bit stronger every single time. So go ahead and experiment with that. I've also added in this final squat that I didn't say anything about, but if your knees are somehow suffering from all of the other ways to get across, try some squats. Do a combination of all of these. As long as you're getting from side to side, hanging out in one of these end positions for a little bit, and you're doing some work to help strengthen your muscles, we're good. That's all I care about. And that's all you need to do. All right. I have absolutely no idea how many of these we've done, but let's go for another 15, 20 seconds. Make every rep count. Feel like a badass while you do these, and remember to breathe, because I definitely don't do enough of it. All right. You might have noticed at some point suddenly you're able to go deeper. Maybe you're moving a little bit smoother. Maybe even your knees are starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable and achy. If your knees are getting less and less comfortable, dial back, maybe less range of motion, keep just a little bit, keep it comfortable. But if you're feeling really good, really smooth already, then we can move on and get into some hamstring stretches. Oh, where did I throw my pillow? We're gonna need a cushion for the hamstring stretch, and there it is. Ooh. We're gonna need a cushion for the hamstring stretch. So go ahead and take a second to grab something to pad your knee. Dog bed, old shoes, pillow cushions, couch cushions, anything will do. We only need it for one stretch, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Ooh, man, we've had 62 messages since last time I checked the chat. Fire hydrants aren't that bad, so I'm used to exercise. Great. Ganasti says, here we go. What if I get like that and I can't get up? Candy. Hilarious. Well, you can always fall on your butt and then lay on your back and then crawl out of it slowly. Wow. Okay, a whole bunch of people have come in and followed. I'm trying to scroll over to the comments to see if there's anything else we need to address. Can you do half exercises for people with less torque? Absolutely. For the Cossack switch, if you have a little less power, I do recommend you stick your hands down and then help walk yourself over. If you don't have the strength to come all the way up and this power is what's limiting you, then these are perfectly good. These are actually really good because you're spending a lot of time in the weakest part of your range of motion, which is keeping your hips really low. All of this range of motion, nobody ever uses anything like this. So this stuff here should be really hard, right? So if you put your hands down, you give yourself a little bit of support and make it a bit easier, that is a perfectly great way of doing the Cossack switch. I only recommend these more powerful, torquey, as you said, ways of doing this movement because I want everybody, especially people who are stronger, but have less mobility, to have a comfortable way of feeling like a badass. You know, we want to be inclusive and helpful for everybody. So that's the full spectrum of going from side to side. All right, I'm scrolling real fast. Thank you everybody for joining. Because there are a lot of people on right now, I'm gonna do a quick spiel. We do realistically 40 something minutes of live side split stretching every single day so that we can practice consistency, build a little community, and hopefully have good vibes, make training a little bit more fun so that it's easier for you to practice consistency. Cool? If that sounds interesting, hit follow, hit subscribe, get notified, do all those good things, and come back. We're here every single day, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Somewhere else, then it's some other time zone, but whatever. Let's continue. What did we just do? We have not done anything. We're doing the hamstring stretch right now. Okay, hamstring stretch we want to do looks a little bit like this. We're putting our knees on this cushion. We are squaring up the hips so they point directly forward. Shoulders are pointing forward. Your head is pointing forward. And then right after that, we're sticking our leg out. So our leg is pointing forward. I want you to almost tuck that leg in underneath you from the side. It looks a little bit like this. And I want you to do that so you can focus on the hamstring. When you're fully extended out, there's a lot of other stuff going on, and it makes it harder to focus on your hamstring. So pull that leg in, right into its socket, fold forward, bring the belly button down towards the thigh. You're going to feel the hamstrings tighten up, and we're going to take some nice breaths and try to relax into this stretch. Inhale, slow exhale, and release and try to get deeper. Okay, one more. Inhale. Exhale. Try to bring that belly button closer to your thighs. And if you're feeling a little discomfort in the knees, you can always bend the knees slightly. If you do bend the knee slightly, try to focus on folding forward first and then straightening out your leg. If you are not bending your knee because your knee is uncomfortable, then you can focus on just bringing your belly button and chest down to the leg. Cool? That's it. I hope you're in position. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27. You can continue doing that inhale, exhale that we started with and see if that helps you get deeper into the stretch. You can do some little tiny mini pulses, and all I care about is that you're trying to bring your belly button closer to your thigh. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. One thing to keep in mind is you do kind of want to keep your back relatively neutral when you're doing this. And what I mean by neutral is make sure your back isn't super stretched and super rounded where you're feeling a whole bunch of pressure in the back, because a lot of the stretch, most of the stretch is coming from what your hips are doing, right? Your head and your chest can move in all sorts of places, but your hips, they're not going to go anywhere. As long as you're trying to fold forward, your hips are going to shift like a tiny, 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 tiny little bit. So don't confuse your chest and your back with what your hips are doing. We care mostly about the hips, and you want to just keep the upper half of your back comfortable. All right, that is hamstring stretch on one side. Let's switch over to the other side and finish up the hamstring. Once again, don't extend your leg all the way out. Sort of tuck it back in. Fold forward. Feel the hamstring stretch building. It's going to be tight. It's going to be uncomfortable. So what we're going to do is just going to breathe and ignore it. Inhale. Slow exhale. Fold. All right, one more. Let's go. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. And once you are as deep as you can, let's go do our 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ooh, come on up out of that stretch. Get rid of that cushion. We don't need it anymore, but I have thrown it too many times thinking nothing will happen. I'm going to just put it down this time. That's the hamstring stretch. We don't need the cushion anymore, so you can toss that safely somewhere else. And we're going to get right into stretch number 2. Stretch number 2 is called the butterfly. In other parts of the world, it might be called the tailor's pose. You might have seen people running in the park or some high school teams that do track and field doing some sort of version of this stretch. It looks a little bit like this. We're bringing our feet together and we're trying to open up the groin area. This is the butterfly stretch. So usually people just do it in the middle of nowhere. They just sit down and try to pull themselves into the stretch. I recommend you get close to a wall. And by close, I mean your back is touching the wall. It doesn't have to be a wall. It could be the door. Just something that will be very durable, something you can push against and will help you in this stretch. So once you have gotten to a wall, make sure your hips, your shoulders, your head are touching the wall, and then pull your feet in towards you. The goal of the butterfly stretch is to stretch out the groin, which is everything in the center of your legs. To do that, I want you to use your muscles to start, and I want you to contract these outer thigh muscles, your glutes, to really push the knees down into the ground. You're going to start feeling pressure in your back, in your head even, while you're doing this, and that's basically the wall helping to push you and keep you in position so you can focus on your legs. Once you have used those muscles, the outer thigh muscles and the glutes, to slowly open up your legs and bring your knees to the ground, I want you to take your hands and apply a little bit of pressure straight down. When you do that, you'll notice suddenly there's even more pressure on the back of your head. There's even more pressure on your shoulders. That is because you're basically pushing into the wall and pushing your legs at the same time. The wall is really helping you to focus your energy on opening up the legs. That's why the wall is super useful. All right, that's it. Contract your muscles, push your legs down, nice and gentle, but with force. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27. Remember to breathe. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Let the arms go. If your legs feel like they're stuck in position, that's okay. Just give them a little bit of a wiggle. If you're surprised by how far your knees are, or how close your knees are to the ground, amazing. Usually, using the wall for the first time will show you that you are way more flexible than you think, and you're just not stable. And that instability is what's often holding you back from making progress in the stretch. And that's why the wall is our best friend. Well, there's other reasons why the wall is your best friend, but that's one of them. Okay, that is a butterfly stretch. We are ready to move on into stretch number 3, the standing pancake. If you need to, go grab a sip of water, enjoy a break, and I'm going to check the chat just a second. Remove glasses, Sonny. I can't. If I'm blind, it makes it really hard to do the exercises. Actually, I probably could, but I don't like being blind. That was a comment on YouTube for my TikTok people who are confused. Let's see. I don't think there's that much in the chat. We got some smiley faces. Do it one more time. I don't know what I just did to have it one more time. This is actually my least favorite in the entire session. You don't like the butterfly? Oh, no, wait. I have no idea what that was referring to. That must have happened a long time ago. I try not to go all the way down. It's a lot easier. Okay. Kanowski, what is your least favorite thing in the session? Because I just did not read your comment in time to know. But I do care. I want to know what it is. All right. What do we just do? Standing pancake. Standing pancake is relatively straightforward. It's going to look just like a hamstring stretch, except our legs are open. All right, so we're opening up the legs. It doesn't have to be super wide. It doesn't have to be crazy uncomfortable, but it has to be wide. Now we're going to fold forward, and we're going to be in this position. This is basically a standing pancake. And the goal here is to fold our hips forward so that our head comes in between our legs. It is really, really, really hard to do that. That is why we do it in standing mode, because gravity pulls all of this down for you. If you were seated, then you'd have to use your own muscles to pull yourself just a little bit forward. But here, gravity's doing all the work. All right? Anytime your hamstrings are feeling like they're too tight for something, do the standing variation and have gravity help you out. From here, we want to bring the hips down. So if you imagine the tops of your hips right here, I want you to imagine pointing them down into the ground. All right? And I want you to imagine the bottom of the hips, sort of the sit bones, these things in the bottom of your butt. I want you to imagine pointing them up into the sky so that you're really focused on folding forward. All right? That's basically it. To make this a little bit more intense, you can stick your hands out above your head. You can hold a weighted water bottle or just a bottle full of water out above your head. Even just a kilo or 2 pounds all the way out here with your arms fully extended is a lot. It feels really intense. So once you're in position, your legs are open, you're folded forward, you're focused on bringing your hips pointed down and pointed up. We're going to hold this stretch for 30 seconds. You can always stop, but you can also work really hard on this. Let's do it. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, okay, come on out of that stretch. Oh, take a couple of deep breaths. Relax. It might have been really, really, really intense. And that is why we do so much warm up. We do all of that warm up so that when we get to the standing pancake, when we get to the side split, it's not nearly as brutal as it could be. And you feel like you're pretty low to the ground. You feel like you're feeling strong, hopefully. Because, yeah, like I said, that's the goal of the warm up. All right. I'm going to see if Ganowski got the chance to respond. I'll get better over time. The switch, I don't like it. Ah, okay. That's what I thought. I was like, I feel like that came early. The switch is hard. It's a really challenging move, and it requires a lot out of your hips, and it requires a lot out of your balance, because you can lose balance going backwards and forwards, right, with this exact motion. If your hips come forward, you start leaning back. If your hips come back, you start leaning forward. You're just trying to counterbalance. And then from side to side, if your hips are a little bit tight here and your hips want to open up like so versus come in, there's a lot of shifting. So the cross-leg switch is really hard because it's complicated as heck. And there's a totally valid reason to not like them because they're hard. Okay. Tyler says hi. Hello, Tyler. I think that is all of the chat. Let's get into stretch number 4. It's a little bit more chill. It's called the figure 4. I think we did the actual figure 4 yesterday. I've completely lost track. I think maybe we did pigeon yesterday. So today's figure 4 day. The goal is to bring our ankle over to that opposite knee, cross it across our body, and eventually end up in this kind of stretch. We're feeling the stretch out here in the side of our hips and in our glutes. Cool? I think yesterday we did pigeon stretch, so today we'll do the figure 4 variation. Figure 4 variation looks a little bit like this. The benefit of the figure 4 is you get to really focus on just this stretch with nothing else, and you control the intensity of the stretch by how much power you put into it. We're going to take the leg, we're going to cross it. Ooh, we just kicked the door, echoing the whole entire hallway. Bring the ankle down onto that knee. We're going to pull the knee in, reaching the hand through the triangle made by our leg and around that leg, and pull. That's it. This is the whole stretch. You want to feel it in. Sorry, give me a sec. I'm going to turtle around here. You want to feel the stretch out here in the outer hip and glute while you pull down. Whew. 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep on pulling that leg in. Don't relax too hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, that is one side. We're going to get right back into the other side. Leg you want to stretch, cross it over to the other side of your body, reach your hands through, pull on that leg. If you have noticed your knee is a little bit uncomfortable when you do it this way, instead of reaching your arm through and pulling on the other knee, you can wrap your knee around your arm and pull on both at the same time. Cool? Let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ooh, okay. We're done with those. It's time. It's time for side splits. Let's get into it. Ugh. Whew. Shake out those legs. Relax them for a second. Let me know if you have a preference between the figure 4 stretch that we've done today versus the pigeon. I like the figure 4 a lot because it's easy to get into a really deep variation as long as you're working and pulling kind of hard. So there is that caveat. And I think the pigeon is just working a lot more things all at the same time. So it's a little bit harder for somebody new to get into. But gravity doing most of the work is really nice. So you can just like relax and chill, sort of, and then still feel a really intense stretch. Pick your poison. Oh man. Ganassi says, I love the pigeon. Sheena says, I like the pigeon. Okay. If you have a clear favorite, you've done a bunch of these where I do different variations, go ahead and stick with your favorite. It's not that big a deal. It's not that different. And the pigeon is a little bit more complicated anyway. So go ahead and take advantage. Go do that. All right. Whew. We're getting to the side splits now. We've done all of this warm up, all of this stretching to prepare our bodies for the side splits. Every single one of these exercises that we did, except for the standing pancake, probably puts a little bit more demand on that muscle, on that joint, than the side splits itself will. And the goal is so that when you get into the side splits, we've already pre-stretched everything even more intensely than most of the side split will work it. And that will mean it's easier to get into the side split. But this first one is still going to be challenging. It's still going to feel uncomfortable. And then number 2, number 3 will feel a little bit easier to get into. But then by the time you're done with number 3, your legs will be jello, and then you're going to be like, ugh, how do I get out of this? Okay, side splits. First thing, let's focus on safety. I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel secure so you can relax and loosen up and get deeper into the stretch. So one of the things that we want to talk about is falling. What happens when you fall? If you fall forward when your legs are spread apart, it's easy enough to catch yourself. No big deal. But if you start falling backwards, you're like, oh no, what's going on? The wall, if you're close enough, is here to catch you. My shoulder kind of slammed pretty hard into the wall. I don't know if you could hear the vibration of the wall just now through my chest. But if you're close enough to the wall, if you stick your butt out, your butt might be able to catch you. Your back might be able to catch you. Your shoulder might be able to catch you. Try to tuck your head so your head doesn't slam back into the wall. That would be really bad. And make sure there's no, stray doorknobs, things sticking out of the wall to smash your bones into, because that would also be bad. That's it. So my recommendation for getting into a position where you're close enough to the wall is just one step in front of the wall. So that's about 8 to 12 inches for most people, unless you have abnormally large feet. And I think most of the audience is like over 20, so you're full grown. So 8 to 12 inches, more or less. Let's go. Open up those legs, nice and wide. Fold forward at the hips. Doesn't look like how we set up for the pancake, but this time I want you to put your hands down, and this will take some of the pressure off your legs, put it into your arms, so that you can externally rotate the legs. We talked about this at the Cossack switch in the very beginning, but external rotation looks like this. Is this blocking the way? Ugh, push it out of the way. Why is this camera so close today? What did I do differently? Okay, your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. That is external leg rotation. If it's uncomfortable for your heels, put even more weight into your hands. Try to take some pressure off, but this is the main position that we're going to be in. Walk those hands back towards your hips. Maybe if you're really close to the wall, your butt is touching the wall already right now. That's totally okay. That's totally fine. That will just help relieve some of the tension just a little bit. Once you are here, I want you to do a little wiggle from side to side to see if you can break that little bit of friction holding your feet back from sliding out. And once you can't wiggle any further, it's too intense. Let's start at 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, walk your hands forward. Pull your legs in from behind you. Oh, let them relax for a second. Breathe. Kneel here if you want. And once you've caught your breath, once you've recovered slightly from that intense stretch, I want you to shake it out. Shake, 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 shake. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Flop, 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 flop. Wet noodle. Be springy like ramen noodles. Or, I don't know, be soggy and just flop around. Let's keep shaking for a second. If you're wondering why we're shaking, and you're wondering why we're doing this, is because what we just did forced our muscles to really tense up, and we're looking like robots. Okay? By shaking it out, you're forcing the muscles to be loose. You're forcing them to be relaxed in order for you to flop around. Right? You can't flop if you're tight. And that's the basic premise. We're just shaking it out until our legs are sufficiently floppy. Sufficiently floppy. It doesn't have to just be front and back. It can be a little bit of rotation in the hip itself. We don't want to put too much torque on the knee like that, but if you do a little gentle stuff, that is totally fine as well. All right, flop, 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 wiggle, 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 shake, 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 and if you want, you can add in some dance moves. Those are good. Once your legs are starting to feel normal again, we're going to do a couple of quick checks to make sure your joints are doing okay and your strength is doing okay. We're going to do some hip circles. If that feels good, feels fine, we're going to do some high knees. You don't have to do very many of these. We're just making sure that everything feels okay, everything's moving in the right sort of position. We're going to do some mini squats. Put some pressure in the knee, put some pressure in the ankle, put some pressure on those toesies in the foot. Come up for balance, or come up to check on that balance. And if everything feels good, we're ready for round 2. Take a couple last seconds to shake it out. One of the reasons why we want to shake it out is we want to almost reset the body, right? We want to give our body the best possible chance of getting into the best possible second side split. If you are a strength athlete, you might know that really intense strength workouts ask you to rest from anywhere for like 3 to 8 to 10 minutes. Sprinters, like at a really high level, in between sprints, they'll rest for 10 minutes to make sure their body is ready to handle that really intense output, and all the glucose and power generating sugars are resupplied to every muscle. We don't need to do that nearly as intensely, but take a couple minutes, loosen up. Cool? All right, let's go. Round 2. Get close to that wall. One step is fine. Open up those legs nice and wide. Focus on folding forward. Put your hands down. Externally rotate your legs so that your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. I'm going to focus on bringing my legs together so it's more obvious what I'm doing, because I feel like my foot is cut off. Heels down, toes up, knees up. Cool? From here, you should sink a little bit deeper into the stretch because our hip bones are not smashing into our leg bones. We're going to walk the hands back towards our hips to put that weight that we shifted forward back into our legs. And now you should be in a pretty intense side split. I want you to do a little wiggle from side to side to add just a little bit more intensity to break that last little bit of friction holding you back. And once you cannot get any deeper, let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27. You can experiment with how far you lean forward and how far back you lean backwards. It'll change the stretch a little bit, but for most people, you're still working on that side split in that pancake position. And so if it's a little bit less uncomfortable, it'll be easier to work on the position over time. go ahead and experiment with shifting back and forth. And we're probably at like 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, walk your hands forward, which is also like shifting your weight forward. If you're wondering what that thing I was talking about earlier is all about, whew. Bring your legs in, chill for a second, take some breaths, and when you're ready, come back into standing. Let's start shaking, start wiggling, start flopping, start noodling. Shake, 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 shake. These don't have to start intense. You can be very, 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 very gentle. Relaxation is the most important part. Being loose and relaxed is the most important part. And as you get more and more and more relaxed, you can pick up the pace. You can add some fun wiggles. Doesn't have to go from 0 to 100 all in one go. All right? Shake, 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 shake. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Relax. Whip it around gently. Gentle whip. Maybe whip isn't the right word. Relax. Shake. Flop. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay. Once your legs are starting to feel a little bit more normal, again, let's do our quick joint checks one more time. Hip circles. High knees. Do those mini squats to put a little pressure on your knees, pressure on your ankles. Come up onto your toes to check your feet and your balance. And once you've done all those things, they don't have to be really intense checks. They're just quick to make sure your joints are good. Then we are ready to go. I think somebody had to leave. Sheena says, good night. See everyone tomorrow. Good night, Sheena. And we, I think, are just going to go ahead and continue. Yep, this isn't something I can do yet, but those other stretches have me so much closer than ever. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right. Let's do our third and final side split stretch. Wrap up for today so you guys can do whatever else you have to do, like go to bed. Third and final round of side splits. Oh, actually, wait, before we do that, we do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, to make training a little bit easier, a little bit more fun with good vibes, with cool people in the chat to hang out with who share your goals. So that sounds awesome. Hit follow, hit subscribe, do all those things. Keep coming back. We're here every single day at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That was a short spiel. I nailed it. Okay, let's get to that wall. Take that step forward, open up those legs, focus on folding, put your hands down for a little bit of support, shift that weight in front into your arms, externally rotate the legs so that your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. Walk your hands back towards your hips, and now we're in that deep, deep side split stretch. Try to do a little wiggle from side to side. See if you can break that last little bit of friction on your feet, holding you back. If you're wearing socks, you might just start slipping left and slipping right. If it's not helping, you don't have to keep doing it. And that's it. Let's go. 30 seconds. Last round. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're almost done. 0. All right, crawl your hands forward. Pull your legs in from behind you. Kneel if you want. Take a quick break. We're going to do our quick shakes, and then we'll be done. Oh, come back up into standing. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Shake, 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 shake. We're doing dance moves, and now it looks like I have props. I usually grab these to sit on when I'm closer to the camera, but I have them a little bit early. So ignore these. Shake, 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 shake. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Loose. Once you're feeling a little bit comfortable, you can pick up the pace do a little bit more intensity in that wiggle, but make sure you do it nice and slow. As you become more comfortable, you can take it up to a higher level. Since this is our last one, spend a little bit of time doing some dance moves, stanky leg, dun, 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 dun. Make sure you're getting a little bit of movement in those hip joints. And once you're feeling pretty good, let's do our quick joint checks. Hip circles, high knees, mini squats. Put that pressure into the knees, into the ankles, into the calves, come up onto your toes, train those feet balance muscles, and then we're done. We are all wrapped up. And I'm back to the cameras. I feel like I got a lot of chat to read. I got a really intense question that I don't have any answer for. What do you recommend for SIBO, Candida, gastritis? I have absolutely no idea what that means, so I have no answer for you. I am so sorry. that is way above my pay grade of $0. So Goddess says, I feel like I'm getting slightly closer to the floor. Amazing. Lovely. Casablanca is feeling it. Amazing. Thank you, Casablanca, for the roses and the hearts and the fan club. Everybody is saying goodbye to Sheena. I love it. I love that the community is becoming oh so lovely. And I'm going to just keep on scrolling real quick to see if there's anything else that I didn't see earlier, because that happens a lot. This isn't something I can do yet, but okay, yes, it's lo mein. It gets better over time. That is what the consistency is all about, right? Like I spiel about consistency every single time, like 4 times a day when you're here. And this might be your first one, but I think I gave the pitch a bunch of times already. And at the end of the day, one workout isn't going to make that much of a difference in how your body performs. When you get really warmed up for the first time and you're trying these moves warmed up, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know I was capable of all this. So warm-ups are amazing. You should always warm up before you want to try anything cool. Just go ahead and spend that extra 10 minutes before you do the cool thing, because you'll do way better at being cool if you warm up. But once you're totally warmed up and you figure out what your best situation is, it's going to take a lot of consistency. It's going to take a lot of regular practice to get better. And that is the thing that I'm trying to spend time with, right? For me, I've been trying to do the side splits for a long time. And I know if I have people that I'm doing the side splits with, I'm talking to people, maybe doing a little bit of teaching, maybe doing a little bit of instructing, makes it easier for other people to join in and have fun and have good vibes so that we're on the same page and we can do the stretch together. I'm way more likely to go do the thing, right? In this case, I'm way more likely to do side splits every day when you guys are here. And I hope that those good vibes that I share and I bring to the internet with you guys, participating in the chat, sending good vibes, asking great questions, makes it a lot easier for other people to keep on coming back, to keep on practicing consistency, to keep on hanging out, making friends in the community, and hopefully that helps motivate you to make a bunch of progress towards your side split goals, right? That's the goal. And those principles of consistency, of community, of making it fun, finding ways to make the hard, challenging thing for you easier for you to do applies to everything, right? It's not just the side splits. I just happen to be doing the side splits. One day when I get the side splits, maybe I'll apply the same principles to something else, right? But that's the intention, to share the message of how to make consistency fun and keep y'all working towards your goals, including myself, my goals, me working towards my goals. All right, I have given the super long version of that spiel. Now, I think we are mostly covered with the chat. Yep, don't like the Cossack switches. I got that. The pigeon is much loved. Oh, Nina has had surgery on their foot. They can't do this yet. I'm so glad I found you. This is on my manifest. That is awesome. Surgery is really tough. I hope your recovery is going well as well. Thank you, Gnowski. And yeah, take it nice and slow. push only as hard as your body can handle, and sometimes it can handle more than you think, sometimes it can handle a little bit less than you think. So take it gentle, but do put in the work to start training up your body, because the stronger you get, the easier it will be to control movement and the happier your joints will be over time. I think that is most of the older comments, so I'm going to finally scroll back down to see if there's anything left to see. Tyler says, I'll try it out next time. Great. I don't know what you're trying out next time because I have not scrolled to the bottom of the chat in a while, but I love that you're trying new things and you're trying to be better. Cool. Lulu, super class, thank you. See you tomorrow. Love it. See you tomorrow. All right, that's it, everybody. I'm going to answer questions about posture that came in super early. And if you're interested in that, we can stay on, or you can stay on. But if you're not interested, we are done. I hope you enjoyed the live. I hope you feel good about the training that we just did. Hope you feel proud of the hard work that you put in. This video, at least the exercising part, ran for like 60 minutes. And it ran for so long, Sheena was like, I gotta go to bed. You guys talk too much. And by you guys, is me. I talk too much. All right. Posture. Let's see. Cookied5005 on YouTube has asked, do you have any tips for posture? I think posture is one of those really complicated topics where your posture is basically how your body is holding you when you have not too much abnormal demands on your body. And that is a lot of fancy words for what you're doing when you're trying to be casual and relaxed, right? A lot of that is shaped by how you spend your time. If you have relatively bad posture, bad as in you find it not good because you think you want it to look different, and you're somebody who spends a lot of time at your desk, you're typing away and you're slouching more and more and more and more and more, or maybe you have the neck where your head is always like this looking down on your phone and your neck is going real far deep into this. Doing a little bit of exercise to counter 8 hours of this or 8 hours of this is going to be really hard, right? So I think the most effective way to address posture is actually to spend less time in the situations or in the exact situations that got you there in the first place. And this is one of those, like, this is not helpful at all pieces of feedback because it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. You can do strength training for your shoulders, for pulling your shoulders back. You can do strength training for strengthening and tightening up the muscles in your back so that you straighten out a little bit. You can stretch out your chest so that it's not as tight and it helps you to relax and get into a better posture. But it's going to be really hard in a 20-minute workout to counter all of the time that you spend in the not so great posture. If, like I said, I'm exaggerating, right? Like if you spend 8 hours a day in this posture on your computer, that's basically sending the same signal to your brain for 8 hours saying, hey, this is the position that I want you to be super efficient and good at and save as much energy as possible in. And that's going to start rounding your back and making it more difficult for you to have the good posture that you want. Because what you say you want is very different from what you're doing to your body and telling your body that it should be doing, right? Your body's goal is to save you as much energy as possible. It's to be efficient. And if this is the position you're in all the time, it's going to be really good at being at this position. And it tends to be the case that it helps you develop that posture. And that's basically the gist of my opinion on posture. But you asked, what can we do to undo some of that bad posture? Well, if you are struggling with, for example, your neck being leaned really far forward, like so, like somebody who's been looking at their phone at belly button level and just looking down, these muscles in the back of your neck, sort of into your back, are going to be very loose. They're going to be very stretched out. What you can do is strengthen the muscles, right? So a very direct exercise that you might be able to do is sort of neck raises. And it can start as easy as this. You can make it more intense by sort of holding your own head back and fighting against gravity, or sorry, fighting against the pressure of your hands, right? And strengthen up your neck that way. You probably have the opposite problem where the front of your neck is a little bit contracted because you spend so much time here. And you need to loosen up the front of your neck to help balance out sort of that posture, right? Most of it, most of the corrections that you need to make are going to seem pretty straightforward as soon as I say it out loud. If your head is going this way, this is loose, it needs to be tighter. If your head is this way, then this is tight and probably needs to be looser. So you do the training so that you compensate a little bit, or you strengthen or get more flexible in the range of motions that you need to access. For your upper back, a lot of slouching ends up from the back rounding, sure, but also from the shoulder blades shooting out to the side. It looks like this. So you're almost like turtling up. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's the motion, the direction that your shoulder blades are moving out to. And so to undo some of that, bring the shoulder blades down and back so that your back is a little bit straighter, right? This is slouched. The shoulder blades are out here. I'm going to pull the shoulder blades into the middle of my back, and I'm going to pull the shoulder blades down with the muscles. And this is an exaggeration, right? Nobody walks around with their chest puffed out like this and calls that good posture. That's just your body's all messed up and you can't move and your shoulders are like this, right? So we want to hit this position in almost a relaxed way. We want some residual tension in the muscles just holding you there without you going actively, I'm going to stand and walk around like this. That means you're going to have to do a lot of strengthening work. And you're going to want to spend as much time as you can in this style of position so that you can retrain your brain to be like, okay, this is what we're trying to do. And that is going to be hard, but that's kind of what you got to do. And other exercises. Like I said, if your problem is you spend way too much time with a rounded back, the muscles in the front of your body are probably a little bit tight, and the muscles in the back of your body probably need a little bit of strength. So strengthening the back can be straightforward. You can be doing pull-ups, right? That is totally fine and good. Getting really good at pull-ups will be a good general recommendation that you can do. If you want to focus on just purely form and you have no access to a gym, then something like this, I don't know what these are called, maybe Superman, will be a really solid way of strengthening your shoulders, your upper back, your lower back, and helping you to focus on the muscles that you want to control for slightly better posture. All right. Obviously, you don't want to lean this far back in real life as you're standing because that would be crazy. But this will help to strengthen the muscles so that when they're slightly relaxed, you're still in a position that you like. Cool. We talked about pull-ups just now. The dead hang is a lovely way of chilling out and letting the back relax into a position that is relatively neutral because you're just hanging from something. Dead hang sounds a little scary, but if you Google dead hang and do a little bit of research, you're basically just holding onto a pull-up bar, holding onto a tree branch, holding onto like some gym equipment, and you just hang out there. There's an active dead hang where you focus on pulling your shoulder blades down. So this would be similar to a dead hang where your shoulders, like everything goes up and you're relaxed. And then active dead hang is where you pull those shoulder blades down and it looks a little bit like this. Your neck is a little bit more visible. And that will also be really good for keeping your shoulder blades down and training them to get stronger so that you have slightly nicer posture potential. Okay, can I do that if I have a herniated disc? It really depends which direction the herniation is. It really depends on how comfortable you are. I honestly have no idea because I don't know what your situation is, and I don't want you to get hurt because of something that I have said. So anything that you try, You got to be responsible for your own risks. But I think in general, when you have pain from a herniated disc, there is some science and some research out there that says there are plenty of people who have herniated discs that don't exhibit pain symptoms. They don't feel like they're in pain, but they have herniated discs. There are other people who have very, 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 very minor herniated discs who feel like the world is ending and they experience a lot of pain. So the way you feel might not be a perfect relationship with how bad your body actually is in terms of the anatomy. And that makes it really hard to figure out how much you can and cannot do on an individual basis, right? But I recommend that you get stronger. There's never a situation where having good command and having the goal of full range of motion is going to be horrible for you. And I'm trying to think about that sentence just to make sure that I have caveated as many things as I need to caveat. I think if you're not experiencing pain, you generally want more strength to control more range of motion, to move better in what you should be able to do. So, with your herniated discs, you're going to have some limitations. I think, for the most part, you can push yourself to the point where the pain starts kicking in. And you can strengthen everything before the pain starts kicking in, and you can try to hang out at that point where the pain is kicking in so that your body gets used to that level of strength and that level of training. You don't have to go any further than that, at least for a while, and you can experiment. This will take a while, right? This will take a month of being very thoughtful and calculated with how much pressure you're putting onto your back. But you should see if that training to the edge of what your range of motion is currently capable of handling helps you feel better, helps you move better over time. That's the best I got. The actual experts in this are that you can find on the internet, at least, with lots of content that you can review. One account is called Low Back Ability, and I don't know if that's their username on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure that's their username on Instagram. Low Back Ability, all one word, and his whole thing is rehabbing backs. I've had back pain and sprains in the low back, and I've done some of their super basic for free available on the internet training for 60 days, and I haven't had a single issue since, even though I'm not actively training the back anymore, and I haven't actively trained in like a month at this point. So it seems like there is definitely a lot of value there. And his main premise is you got to put a little bit of pressure on the things that are hurting, and you have to give the stimulus for your body to get better at it. If you just avoid it because it hurts, it's very unlikely it's going to get any better because you're going to get weaker and weaker. And the weaker you are, the less control that you have. Cool. So that's the general philosophy. I recommend you check out Low Back Ability. There's also Knees Over Toes guy. His thing isn't so focused on the low back, but he does talk about the low back, and he has a bunch of stuff for the low back. And I think they work together a little bit in some capacity. So those two are the accounts that you should definitely check out for dealing with pain in the body. Low Back Ability, Knees Over Toes guy. All right. I did Romanian deadlifts for the first time in 6 months, and now my hamstrings hurt. That is probably soreness. If it's the first time you've done it in 6 months, your muscles have basically completely untrained themselves, and they have forgotten that Romanian deadlifts are a thing. Especially if it's only been 2 days since you trained it, that is when peak muscle soreness hits for most people. Anushka says, I have recently come out of bedridden state. I have started walking on the treadmill. I'm currently working on the stability of my body with bodyweight exercises. I'll check out both. Thank you. Amazing. That's a really challenging state to come out of. So it's definitely going to take a lot of consistent effort and time. So I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you stay consistent. I hope you start moving better soon. All right, I think with that, we are mostly wrapped up in the chat. Lulu says, thank you, see you tomorrow. And then Ganowski says, bye. Tyler says, how do you lose belly fat? I don't have a superb answer for that in general. If you move a lot and you eat not so much, you tend to lose belly fat. As a general, like super easy blanket statement. Usually controlling how much you eat has more to do with it than exercise, because when you're super exhausted, you're just gonna fall apart and lay down on the ground. You're not gonna burn any calories. But if you're like me, you don't move enough, you're like shaking and jittering and like doing stuff, you're pacing back and forth, like stuff is happening in your life. And those little tiny bits of movement take a lot of energy. Matt's Pyro Powerhouse says track your macros and you'll look better. Yes, that is generally true, but it is really painful for somebody who's never tracked anything, analyzed anything, to pick up the thing of tracking everything. And I think the world needs a slightly better way of bridging that gap. If you're super analytical, if you love spreadsheets, if you live in spreadsheets, it then this is 100% for you, right? Like this type of beans has 30 calories and like 8 grams of protein for this amount of volume that I'm going to eat. If you love that type of analysis, tracking macros is going to be easy for you, and it's going to make the whole thing a lot smoother. If you hate tracking things, if you hate the oh no, I got to get back to my iPad so I can fill out the Excel sheet so I can track the thing, or you hate Excel in general, right? Like if writing things down is a pain in the ass for you, it's going to be really hard for you to want to track things. Um, I'll give you a couple of examples of people who are not tracking anything, or you know, they're planning, but they're not doing so much active day to day. Every single calorie is being counted. Who generally lose a ton of weight. People who hike the Appalachian Trail or one of the big like mountain ranges through the US or something, and they disappear for like 3 months at a time. And all they do is just hike and walk for 20 miles a day, right? They're doing a lot of exercise. They're not doing anything else with their lives. They're just walking from point A to point B, go into a spot. Hopefully, they ship themselves some food. They binge at whatever local restaurant they pop out at, and they are just desperate to get calories into their bodies because they've lost so much weight from all of the exercise that they're doing every single day. And they're doing so much exercise that you could feed them as much as you want and they probably would still lose weight. That is an extreme amount of exercise, but it's not the type of exercise where you're sprinting and you're killing yourself every single minute of an hour and trying your very best to uh, make the most of that hour. That's like somebody who's able to do medium intensity for a really long time, for like 10 hours of the day. And they're literally carrying every ounce of food that they're going to eat, right? They're carrying all the water that they're going to drink, or at least getting to some body of water where they can fill up their water. And and then they're carrying water and they're walking around with it. So it's like medium to high intensity for a really, really, really long time. And that means they can control their weight, or at least they can lose fat much easier that way. And you can Google this. You can see YouTube people who like hike trails for 3 months, disappear, and then they come back. They're like a totally different person. You feel like might have not been very good for their health, possibly because of the way that they now look. Like, but that's what happens when you do pretty intense, extreme things, right? Like your body changes and it adjusts to the circumstances that you're given. If you want to lose belly fat, one of the big absolute things that needs to change is your day to day has to be different, right? Like if you keep on doing the same things, but you want belly fat to disappear, then that is unlikely to happen because you're doing the same things that got you to where you are. So if you keep on doing the same things that got you to where you are, it's unlikely that magically something will be completely different and you'll be a different person, even though you're doing the same things, right? Extreme sports obviously is the opposite direction. or I mean, not the arts, but, if you go the extreme direction and get into a really intense sport for a really long time, that will probably do the trick. But if you come back to your normal life and then you start doing the same thing that you always did, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to maintain whatever changes that happened from before. So there's a lot of things in the online like diet fitness world that is, I think, a little bit unhealthy. And the term is called yo-yo dieting, where somebody can follow a diet really strict, really intense for 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. They lose a bunch of weight, and then as soon as they're no longer following the plan, they've hit the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks or whatever, they go right back to their normal lives. Or even worse, they because they starved themselves, their body is going crazy. They're like, oh my God, what is happening? And all of the genetic things that help you to store fat are going, oh my God, this is crazy. We've had not enough food for so long. This is wild. Maybe you'll pack on even more weight than you lost to begin with, right? So that happens all the time in the online fitness space. And that is because people love shortcuts. People love silver bullets. People love taking magic pills that solve problems. People love when something happens fast. And unfortunately, all the products in the world in this space are designed to like sell you something really fast. And that fast thing, like all the things that go viral at least, have a huge following. Some made up magic drug from the Himalayan mountains uses that idea of doing it fast. And the first thing that you have to know is if it took you a long time to slowly accumulate to get to the point where you're at now, and you want to undo some of that, then you should expect that it takes a long time to get back, right? Like you got to make enough changes that are slow and steady and sneaky, just like the way the weight snuck up on you to begin with, to slowly shift downwards back to where you would like to be. And so the mentality that the general public tends to have towards losing weight, targeting specific muscles. A lot of that is just marketing nonsense, and it might work temporarily if you have like a quick goal, but it's really really hard. So big things in recap is over the long term, like over the course of a year, you got to change your regular behaviors, whatever it is that you do every day, whatever it is that you do every week. If you have, you know, pizza night 4 nights a week, it's probably something that should not be regular for very long. You can still have pizza, but maybe, a little bit less pizza, or maybe pick one day where you have pizza, right? Like those things. If you love fried chicken, I love fried chicken. I've had fried chicken like 4 times this week. But I also exercise a lot and I don't eat really big portions, and my body can handle it at the moment, right? Like there's genetic differences between how people handle the calories as well. Um, if your behavior as it is currently is causing you to be unhappy, is causing you to change in a way that's not making you very happy, then you got to change a lot of behavior. And that behavior change is really freaking hard. That's why I do this live side splits show, which we are now over 30 minutes over on. But the goal is to make consistency, to make training in the side splits, to make doing the exercise a little bit easier, right? To have somebody doing it with you, somebody offering good vibes, good energy, creating a little bit of community of other people who care about the same thing, are doing it at the same time, suffering on the floor, doing the stretch with you, and make the whole experience a lot more fun when you put in the hour of stretching. If I were to do this exact workout that we did today by myself in this kind of dark room, it would be absolute crap. I would hate it. I would not be able to continue doing this every single day. But because we build a little community around it, we make it a little bit teaching, there's Q&A, there's interaction, I can do a much better job at being consistent. And that's sort of the concept of behavior change that I try to introduce both for me and for whoever wants to come on to the lives and hang out with me while we do side split stretching. Does that make sense? Tyler, I don't know if you're still on, but I've been talking about some meta behavior change, fitness, weight loss stuff for like 15 minutes now. And if you're not on, then I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Over on YouTube, oh, Tyler is still here. Over here on YouTube, that sounds like some extreme sporting event. Yes, hiking on really long trips. It's like people who love camping and want to do something really challenging, they combine together and they hike through a mountain range slowly over time, and then they coordinate it so that they ship themselves food to reload their backpacks. They go to like very picked out towns to like binge on food as soon as they get there, shower, to take care of themselves with 21st century technology. And they go back into the mountains and they keep on hiking until they finish or do a really significant portion of hiking. And yeah, a lot of a lot of behavior change that we attempt to do, we think is going to cause our lives to be better, is really intense and wasn't sustainable to begin with, right? A lot of the 30-day challenges tend to be things that people never do again after the 30 days. The goal of the 30-day challenge should be, hey, can I do something for 30 days? And then will I like it enough? Will I love it enough that I'm going to keep on doing it forever so that I have this thing that I want to do and I keep it in my life for as long as possible, right? That's the behavior change that you want. 30 days of doing the thing will basically be an intro course in whether or not you like it and whether or not you're going to keep doing it. If you hate all 30 days of it, chances are you're not going to keep doing that thing. So whatever results you felt like you got from those 30 days, probably you're not going to keep for very long. And that is why it's so hard to change, because whatever you're currently doing is comfortable for you, more or less, right? Like you're happy with it, and so you got to do something different, and that different thing in the future might make you even more happy, right? Maybe the results of looking fitter or being stronger or whatever will make you happier eventually, but right now, when you make that first decision, you take that first step, it's going to feel like you're taking stuff away. Like, oh, I can't eat so much pizza. I can't eat so much fried chicken. I can't do this. I have to do more of that. And it feels like you're paying out or you're losing something, right? That is why the first couple of steps of behavior change is really, really hard, because it's just all these negative emotions. Oh, I can't do this. Everybody is wondering why I won't drink beer anymore. Like there's social pressure, there's emotional pressure. If you really love something and now you feel like you can't have it, there's a lot of negative emotion, and that doesn't help make anything easier. If you're like, oh, I can't have carbs because I'm on this carb-free diet, and you have resentment over that, that's not going to help you lose weight long term, right? You want carbs, it's fine. Figure out how you can have carbs, but also figure out how you can have carbs and still meet your goals. Like I said earlier, if you track everything, you love analytics, it's going to be easier. If you hate tracking things, it's going to be way harder. If you're going to want general rules to fill up your stomach, feel really full, and know that you've eaten really well, lots of veggies, lots of beans will generally do a good job. Plenty of fruit, right? You hit some of that nutritional stuff, you fill up your stomach, and you have fewer calories. Vegetables like spinach, you can have like two ginormous bagfuls. It'll be like 50 calories. Something unreasonably small. 50 calories of rice is like a cup. Like, so there are small choices, but it sucks if you hate spinach to begin with, and then you get told have 2 bags of spinach. What kind of nonsense is that for you, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. It's horrible. You hate the taste of grass, right? Those are totally reasonable feelings to have, and telling somebody to eat 2 bags of spinach is just a horrible piece of advice that doesn't actually help anybody. You can say all those things. Technically, they're true, but does it help somebody make that change in their behavior? No, probably not. I don't know anybody who eats 2 bags of spinach. That's like something you develop over time, right? Like you gotta love spinach to have 2 bags of spinach for the rest of your life every single day. That's a lot. But if you think about it from a slightly different perspective, say you love pizza. I don't know why I'm going back to pizza. I think I'm craving some pizza. If you love pizza and you're okay with rolling it up so it's like a little burrito, right? if you slap a ton of spinach into that thing, you roll it up in the burrito, and you have all that spinach with the burrito, then, or sorry, with the pizza burrito, then you're able to get a whole bunch of other nutritious goodies while still having your pizza. Is this the one trick that's going to fix everything? No, it's not going to fix that much, but you get to enjoying some spinach, and you realize that spinach isn't so bad. It's not your enemy. Maybe you can eat a little bit more of it. Maybe you experiment with more spinach in your life. You can figure out how to slowly build up into more spinach. I don't know how this happened where spinach and pizza became my two examples. But that's that's the intent, right? You want to slowly add into your life. You want to experiment. You want to make it just a part of the journey and recognize that, I know spinach is pretty good for me, high in iron, good for my blood work. How can I get a little bit more? When you steam spinach or you stir fry it or you heat it up some way, a big old bag can disappear into a handful. So maybe you're like, oh, cool. Now that I know it'll disappear into a handful, it's really just one super big mouthful. And I chew and I'm done with it in 30 seconds. Maybe that's a choice that you're willing to make. Maybe for you, that's something you're totally cool with. If that's the case, that's awesome. You just ate a half bag or a whole bag of spinach in two mouthfuls, and maybe you feel a little bit more full, even though you didn't get a crap ton of calories. Maybe that works, right? A lot of the time, especially when we ask questions like this isn't shade, Tyler. This is like general people psychology. Um, when we ask these questions, we're looking for a shortcut that will work, and that's great, right? Like when people have information, they have advice, and they can shortcut you, super helpful. But I think eating and food is one of those things where it's just personal enough that if you're asking somebody who treats every bite of food as nutrition only and is like super practical, like I'm one of those people. Like I love delicious food, but most of the time I'll just eat beans and vegetables and have some noodles, right? Like beans, vegetables, eggs are the core of my diet. And when I go out to eat, I don't care. I'll eat everything. But when I'm home, when I'm cooking for myself, I have some things that I go back to that is a staple that I know works pretty good for maintaining my body the way I want it to be. And when you are trying to change, you have to experiment a lot. You have to figure out a bunch of stuff. You can look at some recipes, you can look at stuff, but eating is a part of everybody's daily life, right? Certain cultures value eating way more. If you live really close to family, you have a lot of friends around, then eating is going to be like 90% of the way you hang out with your friends and family. It is really hard to change the way you eat when you hang out with your friends and family. Tyler says it's always good to eat healthy and to have cheat days. Yeah, yeah, being too strict is horrible for your mental state. Being too strict is awful. You know how like um we make fun of teenagers for like being rebellious and stuff? That's literally what happens when you don't take enough cheat days. Your whole entire brain turns into a teenager and starts wanting to fight you and to push the boundaries and to say, "Oh no, just a little bit more." And so don't do that to yourself. Just give yourself some cheat days. Enjoy the taste of pizza. Okay, I've super rambled for a long time. I got a quick question from I Am Blasted, who asks if I can be asked for advice. I am happy to answer questions because that's, I guess, what I'm here doing. And generally, the topics I have a little bit of interest in, so I have accumulated knowledge in, tends to be kind of fitness oriented. So yes, go ahead, ask a question. If it's gonna be really unreasonable, because I've had people like bait and switch me, then I'm going to ignore you. But if you have a reasonable question, it's on topic, I'm happy to help. All right, I think while we wait for that to come in, I'm gonna scroll real quick to see if there's anything I missed while I was going on that long old ramble about behavior change. Tyler, I hope something useful came out of that other than just, you know, eat healthy and have cheat days. Oh, Cryptid Cupcake, welcome back. I don't know if you can hear the construction going on upstairs, but I hope it's not too annoying. I hope the microphones do some internet magic and make it not super annoying for you. Ooh, I am Blasted says, so I am an amateur MMA fighter and I'm 170 centimeters and 53 kg. How should I eat? Wow, okay, that is way outside of my ability to answer. Because I have never trained an MMA fighter. I don't know what it takes to be at your peak performance for your size and body weight. But 170 centimeters at 53 kg seems relatively tall for relatively low body weight, and you have to maintain a bunch of muscle on top of that. That seems very lean. I assume if you're an amateur MMA fighter, you're trying to maintain that body weight and still be at peak performance. I have no idea how to tell you how to eat for peak performance. And from what I've seen on the internet about people who train and fight in weight class sports, there is extreme dieting and weight loss in order to keep you in the number range that you have to weigh in order to compete. So instead of rambling about something I don't know anything about, I think I have to tell you, I got no idea. Um, If you're an amateur fighter already, I would imagine you have some basic information about generally what's decent to eat for you, and you've already got experience eating. And if you're staying super lean at 53 kg, then you're probably doing okay for compared to the rest of the population, right? Like for compared to just average normal folk, you're really lean, probably really strong. You probably have really good endurance. So I got nothing I can offer you. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, I'm not so useful, but I appreciate that you came in and you very politely asked if you can ask a question. I really appreciate and respect that. Good luck with your MMA fighting. We do daily side split stretching back here. It ended like 40 minutes ago, but I've been just doing Q&A and chilling. If that's something of interest, if you want to work on some flexibility, make it a little bit more fun, that's what I do. You can come join me. We do this every day at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you're in some other time zone, you're gonna have to Google what that time is for you. Cool. All right. Gold LX, welcome back. It's been a couple days, I think. I hope you're well. We wrapped up the side splits live like 40 minutes ago, but I've just been talking about all sorts of random, not random, but like tangentially related Q&A about weight loss, eating well, my philosophy towards common problems that arise, and that's what's up. Switzerland time zone for you. I think that's 6 or 7 hours ahead of 9 p.m. So it's like 5 in the morning for you. Oh, wow, you're up super early. Eduardo says, ¿Por qué? Except he's Portuguese, so maybe that's pronounced a little bit differently. Eduardo, welcome back. It's good to see you. Ooh, Pepe, pepperoni. Giuseppe asks, hello, I've been strength training for years, but not getting stronger. Is food impacting that? It is possible that food is impacting that, but it is also possible that what you think is strength training is not actually strength training. It is possible that you're not. For example, I'll just get right into an example instead of saying what ifs. If you are following a workout that says 8 to 10 reps of X exercise, and you've been doing that exact workout for years and not changing up the exercise and getting into a harder exercise and stopping at 10 reps, then maybe that isn't enough stimulus for you to get stronger, right? if you're doing calisthenics, for example, right? A lot of beginner plans will be like, oh, do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps of regular push-ups. Maybe you'll find that push-ups aren't that hard for you anymore, and you stop at 8 to 10. But realistically, if you really pushed yourself, you can do 25, you can do 30, you can do some crazy number. Probably by the time you get to like 25, you get to 30 reps, you start really feeling the burn. You're going to be like, I can't move anymore. That is a lot of when hypertrophy happens. It's in that last couple of reps that you like squeeze out. Um, but hypertrophy is not strength training. And in general, the sports fitness strength world talks about strength training as something that you do very low reps of so that you can get the maximum contraction, the maximum tension out of your body. So, in comparison to a regular push up, maybe the one arm push up, nope, not today. Okay, the one arm push up would be the strength variation, right? You could see that I could casually throw out however many push ups was in the example, but as soon as I try to do the one arm push up, the one that requires way more tension, way more strength, probably some warm up, I couldn't finish it. Right. So like strength training is heavily dependent on what you're doing and how much of your muscle effort and also your neuro effort, your brain effort you're putting into the exercise. So yes, it could be food. Food could be impacting how much strength you're gaining. If you're at a really elite level of fitness already, like you're way better, like you said, you've been doing strength training for years and you have not been getting stronger. If you're already at a really elite level, you're probably not asking me for advice, I guess. So maybe I'll caveat that. Uh, but it's also possible that the type of training that you're doing, if you're following a pretty generic strength training regimen that you saw on the internet somewhere, that maybe it's not so well tailored for building strength and not for building strength for you. So, yeah, I think those are my potential answers. I am Blasted, who was asking about the amateur MMA training and diet. Says it's 4:48 a.m. It is so early in the morning for you. What are you doing? Are you sleeping soon, or have you already woken up? That's intense. What is better, running or mountain biking? It depends on what your goals are, right? Mountain biking, depending on what type of mountain biking you're doing, if you're doing downhill mountain biking, which is really fast, you have like a 100 times more intense level of danger and hurting yourself. If your goal is to make sure you're at peak performance for MMA, then mountain biking is putting a lot of risk into your training for relative low return, right? But if you're just biking on, hills and paved paths and you're not doing some crazy intense mountain biking where you're like, swerving around tree roots and jumping off things, then mountain biking is probably easier on your knees than running is. If you enjoy the cool wind breezing through your hair, mountain biking is going at a way faster speed, feels better, feels like freedom. Running is just a different type of exercise. I think running is very free, except the marketing world and Nike and all those other shoe brands have made it seem like it can be really expensive to get like all sorts of gear. But it's essentially a free exercise. You don't even need a bike. You don't even need shoes. Um, I like running because I've done more running than I've done mountain biking. So what is better really depends on what your needs are, what you have access to. If you hate running, then don't focus on running. Focus on mountain biking because hypothetically you prefer mountain biking a little bit more. Maybe because you're in Switzerland, you got a lot of crazy beautiful mountains to go bike in. You should try to enjoy that. But if you're just biking up mountains for a long time, that might be brutal and impossible. Maybe you need an e-bike to go up some of those mountain roads. And if that is the case, maybe the logistics of getting all that arranged is a pain in the butt. So maybe running is a better fit for you to enjoy the outdoors, get that fresh Swiss air, and keep training. I I don't know. What is better is entirely dependent on what the other conditions that you're holding are, right? If you want to do the best exercise with the least amount of investment, running could be it. Mountain biking requires a bike, or it requires going to a mountain. Those are all costs. Running you can do for free. If what you want is the most exhilarating experience while getting your cardio, I think mountain biking has a little bit better potential. Cool. All right. I think that is all of the questions and all of the chat. Eduardo, there's some keywords in here in your message. I think fort is strength, lindo is beauty, and amigo is friend. So I think you're asking a question about how I am so strong, look so good, and I am your friend. I don't know if you're just throwing me lots of compliments and trying to make me feel good about myself, because I'm smiling. I'm feeling good. I appreciate it. I don't know how I seem relatively strong to you, but a lot of it comes from regular training, right? Practicing consistency. At some point in my life, I did a ton of push-ups, a lot, and a lot of that strength, a lot of the physique has mostly stayed with minimal training because I'm not competing at a really high level, right? Like I'm not at the level where if I stop for 2 weeks, half a pound of muscle will disappear off my body because I'm at like such an elite level that not training has a dramatic effect on my body. I have found the point in my physical genetic situation where as long as I have a little bit of fun, I do a little bit of gentle exercise like the stretching that we do every day, which, I spend possibly 7 hours a week on just doing these stretch videos. The actual stretching doesn't take nearly 7 hours because I'm explaining, I'm answering questions, I'm doing all these things, and it piles up on the time. And if you're just joining in, you have no idea what I'm talking about. For the first 60 minutes of this call, we were doing live side split stretching, and that is the main thing that I do. And now we're in Q&A and just hanging out, answering questions. Um, I've trained just enough to be a little bit stronger than your average person for my body weight, for my size, move a little bit better than your average person for my body weight, for my size. And I've done a lot of different things. I've danced, I've wrestled, I've done calisthenics training because it was cheap, free, and lots of tutorials on the internet. I've tried a little bit of tricking where you just jump around and do like flips. I was not very good at that because I messed up my knee a little bit, but those are all cool things that I thought were cool. They looked fun, and I have the body shape to be pretty decent at, right? And I also used to run a little bit, but that was as a team sport in high school. So all those little pieces over time have helped to shape the body. And now I just make some weird choices that might be weird for normal people, right? Like I go out of my way to take stairs a lot. If you are in a train station, a metro station, and there are stairs versus these huge escalators, probably at least 30% of the time I'll just take the stairs. Sometimes that's because I'll go way faster on the stairs than on the escalator because the escalator is packed with everybody else and I'm trying to get somewhere. But sometimes I just feel like taking the stairs because I can stretch out, right? Like I have this weird tendency where I try to take the steps 3 steps at a time, and occasionally every couple of steps I'll try to take 4 steps at a time. And I'm not a tall dude, right? So this isn't like I'm just able to extend my leg 3 or 4 steps. I'm like really reaching my leg up, and I'm trying to see if I can pull that off because I think it's fun. That's probably a really weird thing for you, but that's a really weird thing that I do very regularly, and it helps to, I think, indirectly maintain the leg strength that I built up at some point when I was younger. And occasionally, I get into moments where I'm really close to a gym, I have like perfect access. It's like super convenient where I'll start working out again. And over the course of 2 months, I'll gain a lot of strength, mostly just regaining strength that I've slowly lost over time. And then when the season, changes or whatever the situation changes, I can't work out as much or I don't want to work out as much. As long as I'm keeping some of those weird basic habits that I continue to have, like stretching or walking up the stairs for funsies, I'm able to maintain and minimize the loss so that the next time I really want to work out, I'm able to get back into it nice and smooth. I hope that kind of makes sense. It'd be awesome if you trained all the time, you were consistently getting stronger, but that's unrealistic for most people. So do what you can, change up that behavior, like I said really early on, like 30 minutes ago, and see if you can add little bits of training in, eating healthier in ways that don't make it a huge pain in the butt. I treat taking the stairs as a little bit of a competition. I'm like, how many on this particular staircase can I do a 4-step super step on this time? And every once in a while, I make a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of improvement. I don't do it often enough that I actually, anything changes. But that little bit of mental, like, mindset towards taking the stairs uh, keeps it so I'm excited about taking the stairs. I'm like, ooh, it's a staircase. I'm going to try the thing that I do. And for most people, that's a really strange, weird way of looking at stairs because it's a lot of extra work. My knees hurt, takes time. I'm gonna be sweaty. All those different reasons why you might not choose to take the stairs. Every single version of any exercise that you do is going to have all of those different caveats, right? Like I'm using stairs as an example because it's relatable. Um, Anytime I go past something that looks like I can do a pull up on it, I'm gonna go do some pull ups. Maybe it's one, maybe it's two, maybe I'll try a couple of muscle ups for fun. But I have this thing about me where as soon as I see something that I might be able to climb, I am climbing it, right? And that's a tiny little way of making sure that you stay a little bit more athletic than you otherwise would have. That is a little tiny way of making it so that when you're walking through a park, you're walking through a neighborhood, you're just chilling, exploring something, you're seeing some scaffolding above you in the streets of New York or something, you go and do a little bit of exercise. And slowly, through enough of these little choices, you can build up a significant amount of exercise that doesn't feel like exercise. And maybe it won't make you stronger, but maybe it'll help maintain what strength you already have. And, if you can maintain the strength you already have with minimal work, stuff that doesn't feel like work, that's like a free hack. All right. How does weed affect performance? I have absolutely no idea. I don't partake, so I have no idea, and I haven't studied or read anything about it, so I have even less idea. But I know a lot of high level athletes partake occasionally, right? And it gets blasted up on the news because how dare a Olympic level athlete be using weed? That has not much to do with their performance, I assume, but I don't know. I have no idea. Cool. All right. That's it. We have been running for super. Oh, wow. This might be the longest live I've ever done. We're almost at 2 hours. I hope the Q&A was enjoyable. Hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about strength training, food consumption, behavior change, practicing consistency, running versus mountain biking, MMA diets, which I don't know the answer for. I don't know anything about that. And I hope if you've somehow been on since the first thing that we were doing before, my main thing, the thing we started with was about an hour of live side split stretching. We do 3 warm-up exercises, we do 5 stretches, and we slowly work on our side splits every single day to build consistency. We build a little bit of community, and the community is who I'm answering the questions for, if you're wondering why I'm still here. And hopefully we make some hard things a little bit easier, make it a little bit more fun with good vibes, with good community, and we get the side splits. That's my goal. I'm still working on the side splits. Made a bunch of progress. I'm trying to get them like this year, maybe like this month. This month, I'm close. I'm close. I'm like 18 centimeters away, which is like 7.5 inches. So I'm getting real close. And yeah, I do it every day. So if you're interested in that, you're interested in hip mobility, you're interested in flexibility, side splits, come for that. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It is probably like 3 a.m. in Switzerland. So yeah, that's the thing that I do. I hope you enjoyed the live. I hope you felt you got some value from the questions that I was answering and the philosophical rambles that I was doing. And now it's I can't believe you're still on. That's crazy. Hi. uh, with that. Yeah, I have so many exercise splits to do. Ganowski is referencing that part of my trying to get my butt down to the ground and doing side splits is outside of the live, I do a bunch more side splits. And usually it's really helpful if I used our regular live side splits as a warm up and I just keep going. But now that I have basically stopped for a whole entire hour, I have to start over from scratch every warm up, and that means it's gonna take a lot longer. So I'm spending a lot of time doing side splits today. Okay, that's it for me. I hope you all have a great rest of your evenings or mornings if you're in Switzerland, and I hope to see you tomorrow for more live side splits. Goodbye, goodbye. Closing the chat.